I welcome you all to our next class on industrial management. Currently, we are discussing Unit 2. This Unit 2 is on production management. We already taken two sessions under production management. This is the third session. In this session, we'll be continuing our discussion on plant layout. Then we'll be discussing on the production and the various production systems. Let's move on. Before the starting this session, let me have a quick recap of the content we discussed in our previous class. In our previous class, we have discussed the the parameters for selecting the plant size site. So we have seen that it is done in two stages. One is the general location of the plant site, and then the specific location for building the factory shed or the building. Then we have seen the importance of the drawing and the specification with respect to the design of the products. And then we have seen the bill of materials, which is nothing but the list of all materials that go into the final product. We start our discussion on plant layout. In fact, we discussed the product layout and process layout. And we discussed these two types of layout, and I'll making a quick the summary of the layout in this class also. So let's have a quick overview of the content which I intend to cover in today's class. First, I'll be discussing the third type of layout, what is known as the fixed position layout. Then we'll be discussing the combination layout, because these days a purely one type of layout may not work efficiently. We may have to combine two layouts. And then we'll be briefly discussing about the group layout, which is suitable for group technology. And then we'll be briefly touching upon the product design, and we'll be discussing the production, and finally we'll have a summary of the content which we'll be discussing in today's class. Right at the beginning, let us recall our understanding of product layout and process layout, and let us list the differences between the product layout and process layout with respect to various parameters. The first parameter which I am going to consider is the product. Here, in a product layout, it is suitable for one single product because everything is focused for a one product for which the machine arrangement, the layout is set. Here it is multiple products. This layout is not suitable for any one single product. The multiple products can be produced using this layout. That is the one difference. Then the cycle time. The cycle time is very low. That means production is fast in the product layout. Here the cycle time is comparatively more in the process layout. To complete a production cycle, it takes more time in a process layout. The space requirements for arranging all the machines and equipment. In the product layout, we don't need much space. It is very compact. So the things can be built in small area. That is, the space requirements are low in product layout. On the other hand, if you go to a process layout, each of the section will needs its own space. That's why the the space requirement is very high in a process layout. Coming to the specialization, here the everything depends on the product. So the product is the focus in the product layout. Here the process is the focus. So here machines are arranged as per the requirement of the product. Here machines are arranged as per the requirement of the process. That's why the name itself tells that one is product layout and the other one is process layout. And the last thing is the flexibility. That means the ability to change the product. Here, there is not much flexibility in a product layout because everything is focused for a particular product. Here we have got very high amount of the flexibility because we have the process oriented approach, and we have general purpose machines in each of the sections. Now let's go to the third type of the layout. You imagine the construction of a bridge, the across a river. Say you want to construct a bridge. Now we don't make a ready-made bridge and put it the across the river. That has to be constructed in the site itself. So that is the major component remains in a fixed position, and everything else moves towards that. All the manpower, including the engineers, all the employees, will have to move to the project site. Even the contractors, subcontractors, everybody will have to move to the project site. That means the 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 major component which is going to be built is in one place, and everybody else has to have to move to that place. Similarly, all the materials will have to be stored near the site itself, and all the required machines are to be moved to the site. So everything is moved to the site where the major component remains. This is the fixed position layout. Similarly, in a shipbuilding, the ship is not built in a distant place and taken to the sea. It is built on the shore of the sea itself, so that immediately after the ship is built, it can be put into water. That is the major component. That is the ship remains in one particular place, and all the resources are carried to the shipbuilding site. The labor are moved to the shipbuilding site. The tools are carried. All the equipments are carried to the site. All the materials are also carried to the site. So all these things is taken to the major site, and then we'll have the finished product, that is the ship, that also will be in the same site. That is the fixed position layout. So, fixed position layout is the one where the major work component remains in a fixed place. Because the major work component is there in one place, so we have to move all the required items. We have to move the tools to the site. We have to move all the required people to the site. So all these things are to be moved to the site, as the main work component remains in one fixed place. So I'll represent it with the help of this figure. So this is the major, the component. I'll call it as the raw material. Previously, raw materials used to be taken to the workshop and processed, and finished material sent. Now the raw material is there in its own place. The people, the move to the raw material. Equipments are to be carried to the site where the major raw material is there. All the remaining equipments are also taken. All the machines are moved to this site. So that means the all the components or all the elements which are required for processing are moved to this site. And then finally we'll have the component which is the built, and finally we'll have the assembled product which will be there in its own place. So this is the product, the layout. This is the fixed position layout. But we have to read to some important things. One is that the workers will need high skill, because they will have to work with portable small machines. The skill on the part of the workers is very important. It is not like the factory system where everything is automatic and the very minimum work is done by the workers. Here, the most of the work is done manually by the workers. And all the machines what we are taking, they are not huge sophisticated machines. They are small general purpose the machines. So because of the general purpose machines, the level of skill required by the workers is high. Even the all the equipments which are moved are small in size, so that huge equipment movement is reduced as far as possible. This is again another example. This is a project site where we are moving all the human resources to the project site. We are moving all the materials to the project site. We may need the electricity, power. So the energy is also the supplied to the project site. We may have to provide carry many materials to the truck or some other transport system. That is also the taken. All the supplies are also taken to the project site. This is a fixed position layout. So let's come to the advantages of the fixed position layout. One of the advantages is that the investment is minimum in a fixed position layout. We are not carrying very huge machineries and equipment. We'll be using small portable type of equipment and machinery which will not cost very high. The capital investment is not much in a fixed position layout, and there is a continuity of operation. Usually in a factory system, what will happen is if a component needs 10, if a product needs 10 components, they are manufactured independently from at different parts of the factory, and finally they are assembled. And while assembling, if something may go wrong, some products may not match, there may be some problem, because the what one when one person manufactures a component, he concentrates only on that component. He doesn't know what is happening with respect to the other other components produced by other people. But here that's not the case. Here we have got a continuity of operation. Everybody knows the other side, everybody knows what everybody else is doing, because everything, all the entire product is in one place. And there is a great flexibility in this system. If at all any changes are required, that can be done even in the last minute. The last minute we can change we can make changes in the product. There is a flexibility in the fixed position layout. Here the workers have got the facility to use their skills. If the workers are having high skill, they will do the work much better. That is, there is a provision for using the skill of the workers in a fixed position layout, which is not there in the product layout. Coming to the disadvantages of the fixed position layout, so here the time is a major factor. We have to move everything to the work site. We have to move people, we have to move equipment, machinery, materials, and this will take a good lot of time. It will take more time for all the required resources to reach the project site. And we need very highly skilled the workers, because we are using a small general purpose machinery, so the skill required on the part of the workers is very high in this arrangement. Without the skilled workers, we may not be able to operate this fixed version layout type of work. And sometimes we may have to go for the complicated jigs and fixtures for locating the work and for guiding the tool. If suppose a hole is to be made in a very odd position, the worker may not be able to drill that by his skill. He may have to go for some the specially designed jigs and fixtures to hold the workpiece and to locate the tool, and this will cost the more money. Now let's come to the combination layout. The combination layout is, as we know, it is a combination. Now these days, because of the competitions and because of the variety of the products to be produced, a pure state of any one type of layout may not be possible. So the people go for layout which is a combination of the two layouts. So let's see the what is this combination. Usually, the fixed position layout stands by itself. This combination layout is usually the layout of the product and the process, the layout. So, the individual units are used in a process layout, and all these process layouts are arranged according to the product layout. It is the combination of the process layout and the product layout these days. Here, the advantages which we have listed in both the product layout and the process layout can be made use of in the combination of the this layout. That is, here each process is set up as a unit. So that is a process layout. We may have a number of processes, and these processes are set up independent units, and the arrangement of these processes are made as per the product. That means these individual the process units are arranged in the product type of layout. So it is essentially a combination of the process layout and the product layout in this type of the combination layout. Let us come to the group layout. Now, these days, people are talking more about the flexible manufacturing system. Here, the we should be able to produce the products in small quantities economically. That is, the flexibility is the need of the manufacturing these days. We should be able to change the product, the type of the product, the dimensions of the product without much difficulty. So that is the present trend is towards the flexibility into manufacturing. That is the the products are produced in small batches, and this and there may be flexibility in the sequence of operations. Now whatever the products are frequently changing these days. In olden days we had our ambassador cars. It has the run for decades, and it was sold in large quantities. Now, if they look at the car models, every year the company has to bring with the newer and newer the models of the car. When the newer models come, they will have to make the molds, they will have to make the shape of the body and the inner components, the facilities more advanced, more attractive. That means the items are produced in small quantities, and even in the small quantities the production has to be economical. So the 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 economical the production in small quantities requires a flexible manufacturing system. This is the group technology. Here the the products are made into certain groups, and then there will be line. Now this line is not for one product. In the product layout, what we discussed earlier was a line for one product. Now it is not for one product, it is a group of similar products. We have got what is known as a product family. The group of similar products are grouped under one group. This is group A and this is group B, and this is the manufacturing the process for the products which fall under group A. This is for group B. So there may be a number of similar components in group A. All these components can be manufactured along this line. Similarly, a number of the products may lie in group B part family. So these products are manufactured by the this line of manufacturing. So this makes the manufacturing more efficient and also more flexible at the same time. Now, let's come to the product design. The product design is a complicated job. It's a the job which involves very high level of skill on the part of the designers. Here, the designer has to blend the two things. He has to blend the needs of the customers with the business goals of the organization. So the what the customer wants is primary. If the company produces what the customer does not need, there is no question of selling the product. So the customer needs are identified, and those things are blended with the business goals of the organization, and this leads to the successful the products produced by the company. The product designers are always concerned with the optimizing the experience of the user by offering solutions. That means the product should always be focused on the maximizing the user experience by providing the product or the service. So that is what the designers are always the focus. And in this process, the company builds a brand name. This brand name helps the company to have a reputation and sell the products more comfortably. For example, the people buy iPhone, even it is much costlier. That is because of the brand name, and that because of the optimized customer experience they have provided previously to the customers. So this will lead to the products which have got the longer the life cycle, the longer the the usage by the customers. Let's discuss the steps involved in product design. Whenever a new product is to be developed, the company will have a strategy. So how to develop a new product? Suppose a company wants to develop a new mobile. So what is the strategy for doing that? And then there will be ideas. There should be idea generation. That means what are the features required in the new product? How do we incorporate that? And then these ideas are to be screened and they will evolve. So all ideas may not work. So we have to see what are the ideas which can be brought into real life. What are the ideas which can be incorporated in the new product. Then there's going to be business analysis. So here we have to study the viability of the product, whether the introducing this product or whether diversifying to this product makes business sense, whether it will be profitably run. That's a business analysis. Once the business analysis says that it is a viable proposition, then the product is developed. And once the product is developed, that requires the testing. It may be the different types of testings are employed. Many times it is a prototype testing. You make a prototype and then test that. Once it is successfully the functioning, you can go for large type of production. These days, people go for more economical way of the testing using simulation. You have the simulation models. These models will have all the features of the actual product, and by manipulating this model, they will find out the reaction, they will find out the effect of these forces on the model. You will apply a certain force and see what will happen to the model. You will apply a certain amount of vibration and see what will happen to the model through simulation without actually constructing, without actually the create manufacturing the product. And the finally the commercialization, the selling, advertising, all these aspects are the part of the product design. Now let's move on to discuss the factors to be considered while designing the product. Most critical factor is obviously the customer requirement. Customer is the king, and whatever you develop will be sold only if the customers need it. If the customer doesn't need the product, all the effort, all the money, all the resource invested will go as a waste. So everything else depends on the requirement of the customer. And secondly, the convenience and use of both user and operator is to be considered. Usually there will be user and the same person may be the operator. For example, there's a car. The owner of the car is the user, but owner may not drive the car. He may employ a driver to run the car. He is the operator. The convenience of both user and operator are essential in the product design. It's always a trade-off between the function and form. The the how well it should perform its function is one parameter. How good it should look, its appearance is another factor. So if you design something that is functionally very superior but looks very bad, the people may not buy it. On the other hand, if you have got very attractive looks but the functionality is low, people may not buy it. It's always a combination, it's a trade-off. How much what is the level of functionality and what is the level of the appearance, aesthetics you would like to include in the product. And then the types of materials used in the product, that has got a direct cost on the direct bearing on the cost of the product. Then the different work methods for manufacturing the product and the equipment which is needed for manufacturing the product. Then the cost price, the ratio. So what is the manufacturing cost and at what cost it can be sold in the market. that is to be analyzed. The quality of the product is always very important. These days customers are more and more choosy. They will not compromise with quality, so the maintaining quality is essential, and that is part of the design process. The specifying the quality and ensuring that that quality is maintained. And then the process capability, that means what is the quantity of the output produced periodically, and what are the machines and equipment and the labor required for producing that quantity of the output. Another thing is, when the company goes for a new product, its effect on the existing product is also important. For example, if the company has already a large number of the mobile of particular the model in the market, if it introduces a new model of mobile, it should also think of its effect on the existing model which is already in the market. This impact, if it replaces, and if the demand for the existing product immediately goes down, the company may not profit much. The existing product has to be maintained, along with that new product has to be launched in the market. And even the packing and the transportation is also important in a product. The packing will enhance the look. At the same time, it will also protect the component. So all these things are to be considered while designing a product. Now, coming to the objectives of product design, by doing all those design, the company wants to generate profit in the long run for the company. And by doing a very good product design, the company wants to achieve the high level of the product quality. By an efficient project design, the development time and the cost are to be reduced to a minimum. A good design will also reduce the cost of the product. A good design makes the manufacturing easy. That is, the producibility is enhanced, or the manufacturability is enhanced by a good product design. Now let's come to the production. Say if you go to any industry, there will be the production is going on. Say if you look here, this is the welding process going on, and this is the shaping process. He is performing the turning operation. So all these operations are going on. This is the grinding, the operation, drilling operation. All of the operations will be done. So this is the production. Now let us see more about the production. What exactly is production? Production is a process of converting their materials into more useful articles by changing their shape, by changing their size, or other properties of the product, which involves directly or indirectly the skill of the craftsman. Here I didn't use the word the raw material and finished product because it varies. What is raw material for one person may be a finished product for the another person. For example, if you take the furniture industry, for one person the tree is a raw material, and he will cut it and make it into the logs, and he'll sell it. For him, that those logs are the finished product. Then for the mill, they will take these logs and they will make nice planks out of that. So that means for them the log is the raw material, the planks they make in the mill, in the wooden mill, is the finished product. And for the furniture maker, these planks are the raw materials and the finished furnitures are the finished products. So that is the raw materials and the finished products change. But one thing is sure, at each stage of production, its value is increased, the value is enhanced. Each operation has increased its value in the market. It has made the more useful. At every stage, the articles are made more useful, and this is done by changing the shape of the material, sometimes by the size of the material, sometimes by other properties. For example, in the heat treatment, there may not be change in shape and size, still properties are changed internally. So that is the manufacturing process. It will involve the skill of the workforce, the skill of the craftsmen, either directly or indirectly. Direct people will be working on the machines, indirect people will be providing the support, the facilities for manufacturing. This is one definition of production. Production can also be seen as an organized activity of converting the raw materials into finished products. This is another simple way to look at the production. So, why do we need the production? Obviously, without production, the needs of the customer cannot be met. So, the meeting the needs of the customer, that is satisfying the needs of the customer, is one need for production. And then the the company has to increase its service abilities in various fields by the manufacturing newer and newer the products, and the development of the products in the country will lead to the development of the country. That means the country becomes self-reliant. Country becomes economically prosperous when there is a when there is a high level of production in the company in the country. The production will increase the employability of the people. Now these days the employment is a very burning issue in our country. The productions try to increase the employability of the people in the industries. By this employability and the related things, the living standards of the worker, of the employees, can be increased by the high production. And this the production will the help us to use the available resources in the country. If we don't have the production facility, we will have to sell the raw materials and buy the finished product from the other countries. If we have the production facilities, we can make use of the available raw materials and make our own finished products. And the productivity will always on a constant lookout for newer and newer and more the imaginative products. That is the innovative creations, the innovative solutions to the needs of the customer is what the is achieved through production. Let's make a final the summary of what we discussed in today's class. First, we discussed the fixed position layout, where the main work components remains in one position and all the resources, the machines, the men and materials are moved to the location. Then we discussed the combination layout, which is a combination of the process and the product layout. We did a brief comparison between the product layout and process layout. Then we went on to discuss the product design and what are the factors which affect the product design. And towards the end, we discussed what is the production and what is the need the production. That's what we intend. That's what we intend to cover in today's class. Thank you.